David Warner forever has played on the front foot. Aggressive, confident, yes, down 0-2, but you will soon see the passion and the intensity right up there. David, thank you very much for speaking to me. Not the best match at the Eden Gardens, but 3 matches still to go in this series, so there's a lot of cricket left.
Yeah, 100%. I think last night we were very good up front. You know, we always talk about if you can restrict the Indian cricket team on their home turf under 300, you're going a long way to achieve, you know, the outcome of winning the game. Our bowlers have been superb in the first 2 games. There's been swing up front for both teams, which has been fantastic, and I think that's the attribute that both teams bring to the table. But yet again, last night we didn't get that key partnership in the middle. I thought Bhuvi and Bumrah bowled very, very well up front. Ball was swinging, it was quite challenging conditions, and then obviously as a batsman you try and get yourself in and then try and build through the middle period, and we lost 2 early wickets, including myself and Hilton. We established a partnership in the middle, but yet again we didn't have that one person or 2 people to go on and win the game for us.
India v Australia, I mean, we talk about rivalries, we talk about celebration of sport. We know Ashes, we know the El Clasico, we know Wimbledon, we know Federer, Nadal. India, Australia, can you talk about that rivalry and how special it has become in the cricket world before I get Shashwat in on the leadership point as well? India v Australia, do you now consider this to be one of the world's premier, if not the premier cricketing rivalry?
Oh, it is a massive rivalry. I think it has been for so long, and I think I came out the other day and said, as captain of the Australian team, one of the things I'd like to do is win a test series over here in India. It's one of the toughest places to come and play for an Australian player. The wickets are so different to what we get back home. So, you know, that's a dream of mine to be able to lead a team over here and win. But I guess it's a huge rivalry. We always love playing against each other. It's always great cricket, and I see this series, this one-day series and T20 series that we've just started, no different.
Ravi, we are playing Australia. I mean, again, a couple of days back, Steve Smith in his press conference has said we'll try and keep Virat quiet. Again, some mind games. Again, this whole Australian chirp. I mean, you tried to keep him quiet, he scored 400s in Australia. You tried to keep him quiet, we beat you 2-1. Can you talk about this? I mean, what is this nonsense about trying to keep Virat quiet?
I mean, I don't think Virat will have a sleepless night or bother one bit. Neither will anyone in the Indian cricket team, to be honest. Certainly not me. You know, because Australia is a terrific team. You can see with their track record. And India is a terrific team, if you look at their track record. So it's bound to be a good contest. You will have these games, but no one really cares.
But Virat versus Steve Smith with that brain fade and with all of that, there's a lot of juice there.
Oh, I was doing television at that time.
Tell me, I mean,
I was doing television.
You were
it
back.
Was great television.
Yeah, and from our perspective, but now you're in there.
I'm in there, so
but it's a great
you've got to be careful what you say. I don't have the mic in my hand, you know, I don't have 2.5 billion you're speaking to. Here, you come under the rules of the ICC, and as a head coach, what you can say, what you cannot say. But I'll say, you know, such things happen in sport, you know, where you can go over the top, you can make mistakes, you can lose your temper. But as you grow older, the longer you play, it teaches you. You know where to draw a line. You know, you can see that with Virat when he first captained India. You could see the exuberance of youth. But you could already see 6 months down the line a calming influence coming through. I mean, it comes with maturity. So if Steve made that mistake, you know, he apologized for it, you know, after that. And I'm sure he would have learned a lot from it.
But at the end of the series, Virat's comment that, you know, he's lost some Australian friends. I mean, the series was played in seriously intense circumstances. Will that intensity, you think, carry on, or it's past, moved on?
Well, intensity will be there. Intensity will always be there, and it should be there.
First, let's be good guests. Aussie sab janta hai, right? Michael Clark doing our attire. But we've not been good hosts in Chennai, have we, Michael?
It was a tough start for the Aussies, to be honest. 2 things. I think India deserve a lot of credit. They showed their class as a team to be able to fight back from being 5 for 87. But I think Australia will be really disappointed. Very rarely will you see the Indian team 5 for 87. So to let them off the hook like they did, and India to be able to win that game, that is a huge confidence boost for India.
For me, the Steve Smith memory is 2015, a sad, painful Indian memory, when one gentleman decides in front of a sea of blue in Sydney to take India out of the 2015 World Cup. Now, that's the Steve Smith we know, the champion.
Yeah, I remember that 2015 semi-final like it was yesterday. I think it was probably my best one-day knock that I've had. It was a beautiful wicket, and at my home ground in Sydney as well. And semi-final, big occasion, so that's when you really need to stand up, and I was proud I was able to do that on that day.
India-Australia rivalry. I mean, every match that sort of is played adds to this rivalry. I know you love this country. Can you talk about India-Australia as a rivalry and how it has become one of the signature rivalries in world cricket?
Yeah, it's quite funny you say that, because every time I come to this country and you watch the commercials, it's always bully the bully or hashtag sledging or sledgehammer, and I personally don't think that's what it should be, portrayed as. We're two very competitive countries. I think it all started from in Australia, and it sort of lived on from there in that expectation. But I think it comes down to we're both so competitive, and we want to beat each other, and I think that's what it comes down to. And that aggression and passion is on the field, and it always will be. And I think that's what's great for the game. People like seeing that rivalry. It's like what we have with England and the Ashes. You need that build-up, you need that suspense, and we absolutely thrive on playing each other.
When we celebrate a Steve Smith, young man, so much achievement, it's the surface that we are seeing. 87 for 5 India, tricky position. It takes a lot of courage to be able to take that leadership call. You can be right, you can be wrong, or at times you will be wrong. Can you tell us about your mindset?
Yeah, of course, and it has its challenges, no doubt. But I wouldn't give it back for the world. I love what I do, and I guess when you get in those tricky situations, you want to be the one to lead by example. That's one of my sort of mantras. I try and lead by example with the way I practice and the way I perform out in the field, and that's really close to me that I can do that.
Top 3 not firing, yet India winning. Does that sort of stand out for you as the most important thing?
Absolutely.
No Virat, no Rohit, no Shikhar. Still India beats Australia.
Absolutely. I mean, not just the batting part as well, even the bowling side. You've got Kuldeep in the picture now, you've got Akshar and everyone else, Chahal. So obviously, having said that, it's not Virat centric or Rohit centric anymore. It's a proper unit now. And I just pick it up from what Michael just mentioned. I think Dhoni's career he's added a couple of more years because of Hardik coming in. Because if you still see, Dhoni would start off his innings a little slow, but he's got someone like a Kedar or a Hardik to fire when he's taking it easy and setting himself in. I think because of this group now that he has around himself, Dhoni, say a Kedar, a Manish Pandey, or say a Hardik, or if Jadeja or whoever comes in, because of that group there, I think he's going to play a few more years than what anyone else was expecting.
11 super achievers, 15, 16 members in a team, right? Now, all of them, the fact that they're playing for the baggy green means they're achievers. How do you lead a bunch? Not necessarily all of them will be friends, correct? How do you get the best out of your players?
I think it's about knowing each individual and knowing what makes them tick. Everyone's not going to get on with everyone. They're not going to be best friends with everyone. But when you cross the line, you want to ensure that they have each other's back, and that's really important. So, it's good to have different characters in the room. If everyone was the same, then it'd be boring. So it's nice to have different characters and trying to manage different people and managing relationships. That's all part of leadership, and you always have your challenges, but it's great to. I guess it's satisfying as a leader as well when you can overcome those challenges and ensure that people are doing things and heading in the right direction for the collective.
And the transition, Steve Smith, the batsman, because you're fairly young. I mean, you have challenges because the world is saying you're one of the best batsmen, if not the best batsman, along with Virat Kohli and Joe Root and whoever. You said very pertinently, even if I get a duck, my team wins. That's what I want. I want to understand that mindset. Talk to me about that. The transition from a cricketer, batsman, leader.
I think, hopefully everyone has that same mindset in my team. you know, it's not about personal glory, it's about the team doing well, and if anyone takes 100 over the team winning, then they're in the wrong the wrong change room, in my opinion. I think it's all about the team's success and trying to build a team that's doing well, and yeah, I'd happily take a duck tomorrow if we can win the game.
Tell me about Virat Kohli. 2 years back when you were manager or director, 2 years down the line, Virat Kohli, the captain that you met in Sri Lanka or in Mumbai and then went together.
I think he's evolved magnificently. As a player, you can see it in his performances. As a captain, you can see the way he handles the media, the way he speaks to the media. Self-confidence as an individual is evolved there as well. And the respect he gets from his teammates as a captain player is tremendous.
And what is interesting is last year, 30th of May, you had said to me, Virat should be captain in all 3 formats. Happened within 6 months.
Correct.
And he commands complete control of the team at the moment.
Yes, that, complete control, huge respect from the senior players as well. Like now you have Dhoni playing with us. You know, they have great mutual respect for each other. So, you know, when that's the case, you know, then things become a lot easier. Plus, you know, Virat is a bloke with a very strong character. You know, in the sense there's no shortcut for him. You know, you've got to put in the hard yards to get the distance. He's someone everyone wants to emulate because he leads from the front. You know, his work ethics are second to none in world cricket. So when a young player on the side sees that kind of sacrifice, that kind of discipline, that kind of passion of wanting to do what he does day in, day out, the amount of sacrifice that goes into that, you know, getting into a position where he leaves no room for excuses. If you fail, blame yourself. Don't blame anybody else.
How do you rate him as captain at this point in time?
He is evolving as a captain. I think there's a long way to go. He's only 28. You know, he should be around for another 5-6 years at least as a skipper, and you can learn a heck of a lot. I think the next 3 years will really define him.
As a captain?
As a captain. I mean, he's already right up there, you know. But I think the next 3 years will be a great learning curve for him.
You know, much has been spoken about leadership and captaincy and stuff like that. Under Virat Kohli, India is playing exceptionally well. I mean, you followed Virat very closely, even Hyderabad, Bangalore, when your rival captains. What do you think Virat is bringing to the table which past Indian teams did not have?
Look, I won't disrespect any of the past captains or past players of India. I think the captaincy that Dhoni brought to the table is a sense of calmness, and that's the type of person he is, and he's done an amazing job. He did an amazing job for India, and he still is today on the field, and I think he's helping Virat quite a bit in the one-day stuff, and I think that's a great thing to do as a previous captain, to help nurture the new captain and help direct on the field. I think that takes strength as well from Virat to actually take that on. I know as a new captain, you probably want, you know, that sort of sense to do your own thing, but it seems to me that, you know, he's nurturing him in a good way, and I think that's credit to both of them. Him as a leader, what I see a lot of fight, determination and passion, and that's something that you always ask for from a player's point of view with a captain leading, and I think he's doing a good job of that. You know, they haven't really had too much non-success, so they've been on this ride. The real test comes when you start losing some games, and obviously from his point of view, probably won't want that to happen. But you know, we're here to, you know, another 3 games to go in this one-day series, and hopefully we can turn that around, and then you might see a different captain. We don't know. That's the unsurety.
You and Virat, I mean, the rivalry apart, all of the controversy apart, but you and Virat as characters, you all give a lot to sport. That's why we come and watch sport. Steve Smith batting, Virat Kohli leading, Virat Kohli batting, Steve Smith leading, is what adds spice to sport. Can you talk about that? Do you compete with each other? Do you try and outdo say a Joe Root or a Virat Kohli as the best batsman in the world and outdo him as a captain, or it's also a celebration at one level, both of you admire each other, appreciate each other, celebrate each other's success?
Yeah, look, I think Virat's a terrific player and captain, and what he's done with the Indian team's been exceptional. And I guess personally, I don't like to sort of have battles with different players, if that makes sense. I just like to go out there and try and do the best job that I can for myself and for the team. You know, I try and put that stuff behind me and just concentrate on the job at hand, and I let everyone else compare each of us and those kind of things. But for me, it's just ensuring I'm trying to be the best that I can be and try and get better each and every day.
Virat, in that interview to me on India Today, said, I take responsibility for my failures and I'm also enjoying my success. I don't have to answer to anybody, it's me. That's reflecting. Confident man doing a job with utmost confidence, Virat Kohli.
Yeah, well, when you don't fear getting dropped and you know how hard you work in preparing for a game, you can say those words. And that's exactly, Virat trains as hard as anybody. So his trust is in the preparation. Actually, the game time, it's like a day off. Playing the game of cricket, I know this sounds weird, it's like a day off because you work so hard at training. And I'm talking from, you get up at 5 o'clock to do your physical, to do your mental training, to do your rehab in the afternoon, to do your recovery, to do your skills training in the middle of the day. You work so hard on a daily basis that when you get to play, your mindset when you walk out to bat is, you know what, I've done the work. I just go play. Muscle memory just takes over.
Perhaps the man to best decode Kuldeep Yadav, Brad Hogg. Brad, thank you very much for speaking to me. You know, are you impressed with Kuldeep Yadav? Question one. Why is it that David Warner's finding it difficult to pick him?
I don't know whether David Warner's finding it hard to pick him. It's only one game, but I'm very impressed with Kuldeep. Going to be very careful about giving away secrets because I'm still playing in Australia, and some of these boys have to play against me back there. So I want to keep the secrets to a limit. But the thing with Kuldeep, what I saw last night, he's prepared to bowl with the normal seam and then prepared to bowl cross seam. So what that does, the normal seam drifts a little bit more, drops a little bit more than bowling cross seam. But the other thing is, when you bowl normal seam, it grips a little more on the pitch. When you bowl cross seam, sometimes it does grip on the pitch if it luckily hits the seam, but other times if it hits the shiny side, it can skid on. And if we watched the other night, the ball hit the shiny side and David Warner nicked him and got caught behind. But Kuldeep told me the other day that it was a flipper, and I didn't pick that, so he's bamboozling me in the commentary and bamboozling the Australians out in the middle.
You know, what you're talking about, is this special skill that you've got to keep practicing and practicing, or does it sort of naturally come to a Chinaman bowler?
I think Kuldeep's very natural. The thing that he's got to work on now is train really extremely hard just to become more consistent. He's very young, he's got a great foundation, his international career has got off to a great start. All he can do is improve now. Every now and then he's going to have the bad games. He's got to be mentally tough there to be able to say, right, I've had a bad game, how am I going to be better prepared tomorrow to be able to cope with that downward spiral? It's as simple as that. It's more mental now for Kuldeep. He can still improve technically, tactically, but now he's just got to be mentally believe in himself through those tough periods.
Yes, it's a massive moment. You know, it's a moment to remember for the rest of his life. You know, obviously I'm really happy and really proud of him.
I have to ask you about Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, you know, he got a hat-trick, young guy. He's come on record saying he sort of fancies himself against you. Can you talk about that? I mean, is he a sort of an unknown commodity, fancy proposition, Chinaman bowler? What does Kuldeep Yadav bring to the table?
Look, Borja, to be honest, I think, you know, you play 2 test matches, 9 one-day games, averaging 19, I think, with the ball. You know, when you're young, you have that confidence about you, and that's fantastic. And I like that confidence with him. I know back when I first started, I had the same thing. I was talking in the media and stuff, and I think that put added pressure on myself. And if I was to go back then, I probably wouldn't do that now today. You know, his expectation is now that he has to take wickets all the time, and credit to him, he bowled well last night, got a hat-trick, and he's doing well. That's the confidence that he brings to the table. But you know, for us moving forward, it's about us just playing the game. If individuals want to come out and speak in the media like that, the pressure's all on them.